Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets with the sea gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, the Armistice Treaty that ended the fighting in World War I was signed. In November 1919, President Wilson proclaimed November 11th the first commemoration of Armistice Day. In 1954, Armistice Day became Veterans Day, a day to honor veterans. Veterans Day is a day when across America, in gatherings large and small, we pause to remember those who have served. We are here today to honor all Americans who have served in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard during times of war and peace, who puts service above self. I'd like to say to all of the veterans gathered here today that I am grateful for your service and your sacrifice to our nation. Thank you. My name is Rick Mitchell. I'm the Chief Meteorologist with NBC5. I'll be your MC for today's ceremony. Thank you to the Rotary Club of Keller for hosting today's ceremony and for flying over 1,776 United States flags in a field of honor paying tribute to our veterans, active military, and first responders. Here to welcome you to our Veterans Day celebration is John Baker, President of the Rotary Club of Keller. John served 20 years in the U.S. Air Force and Air National Guard and retired as a lieutenant colonel back in 1992 with over 3,000 hours in the A-70 fighter. In 2008, John retired from American Airlines as a Boeing 777 captain. He will now say a few words of welcome.
Thank you. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Keller, I would like to welcome you to our North Texas Field of Honor opening ceremony. This effort is only possible with the help of 38 sponsors, hundreds of volunteers, and the City of Keller Mayor, Council, and staff. A sincere thanks to you all. Currently, 1,776 American flags fly in the field outside. And later tonight, if the wind doesn't die down, we'll probably see 1,776 flags in our neighbors to the south. But in spite of this weather, we honor our active duty military and reservists, veterans, and first responders, past and present, with this community display. How better to show our children the meaning of sacrifice, duty, honor, family, community, and country. In conclusion, I would like to thank all who worked so tirelessly on this huge project. Several key people in this effort include Dave Martella, Phil Sorrell, Jocelyn Irby, and Alonzo Leanan. Please give them all a big round of applause.
Keller Mayor Pat McGrail has called Keller his home for 30 years. And after serving 5 terms as a city councilman, he is now on his 4th term as mayor. In addition to leading the Keller City Council, he also serves on the city's Economic Development Board and Municipal Court Committee, chairs the city's Finance Committee and the Keller Development Corporation, and serves as liaison to the Crime Control and Prevention District Board. Mayor McGrail retired from American Airlines in 2005 after a 38-year career, the last 18 of which were spent serving as Regional Director for operations in 28 states and Canada. In addition to his city leadership, he's also an active member of the Keller Rotary Club, Keller Lions Club, Greater Keller Chamber of Commerce, Metroport Cities Partnership, Northeast Leadership Forum, Tarrant County Mayor's Council, Tarrant Regional Transportation Council, and I-35 Coalition. He's also active with the Boy Scouts of America and serves on the Baylor Scott and White Medical Center Grapevine Board of Directors. He is known to not sleep ever. Mr. Mayor.
Welcome, everybody. Didn't realize how much I did, to be honest with you. I want to thank you all for allowing me to be here today to join with you to honor our veterans, our first responders. As Mayor of Keller, I get involved in a lot of special events throughout the year. But being here is truly a privilege and one of the things I'm really humbled by. This is, to me, probably the biggest event we have in the city, other than possibly what we had yesterday, thanks to Frank and Peggy Viola, the first in honor of Staff Sergeant Alex Viola. So, the men and women in this audience, whether you served in the armed forces yourself, or you supported a service member as a spouse, a child, a friend, you're all heroes in my eyes and in the eyes of the community. Today, we honor you and those still in the service here at home and around the world. As many of you know, our tradition of setting aside a day to remember our heroes dates back to World War I. The U.S. lost about 116,000 of its finest citizens in that war. But peace was achieved the morning of November 11, 1918. Of course, World War I did not prove to be the war to end all wars. And in the years since, President Woodrow Wilson made November 11th the National Day of Remembrance. Our observance has expanded from a day dedicated to remembering those who died in World War I to a day in which we recognize all of our veterans for their service. The passion and resiliency of our veterans transcends every decade, every year, every day of our country's existence. It is your courage and your sacrifices that have secured the liberty that we enjoy today, the liberty on which our nation was founded, and the liberty for which so many of our nation's sons and daughters have sacrificed their lives. You weren't seeking fame, you weren't seeking glory. You believed in this country and what it stands for. You faced enemies in the defense of liberty. And when you returned home, you continued to fight to build a better world. Although this is a day of celebration for many of us, it's also a day of grief. We think of family members or friends lost to battle, or those we've lost since. But I want you to enjoy today because it's been through living that you've honored this country. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a moment, I'm going to ask every person who has served our country in the military or a first responder to please stand. Let's give them a round. Stay up. Not going to let you off that easy. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to ask all family members, husband or wife, mother, father, son, daughter, anybody who has a family member who has served in the military or has been or is a first responder to also stand. You allow your family members, your loved ones, to serve our country so we can have what we have today. So thank you all very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next speaker is Representative Giovanni Capriglione. Giovanni is married and has 3 children attending the Carroll ISD schools. After receiving his Bachelor of Science in Physics, he pursued his MBA in Finance. He's done a whole bunch of other things, but he came up earlier and he crossed them all out because people don't need to know all that stuff. Giovanni was elected to the Texas House of Representatives in 2012 and is serving his 3rd time representing District 98, which encompasses all or part of Grapevine, Colleyville, Southlake, Keller, Westlake, North Fort Worth, and Hazlet. He currently serves on the following committees: Appropriations, of which he is the chair of the subcommittee for Budget, Transparency, and Reform, General Investigating and Ethics, Vice Chair of Government Transparency and Operation, the Local and Consent Calendars Committee, and was named chairman of the newly formed Cyber Security Committee. Representative Capriglione.
Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for being here this afternoon for today's ceremony. I'm honored to be speaking with you today on such an important occasion. We're here to acknowledge the sacrifices and the bravery of our service members and to reflect on their tireless work and their role in our safety and security. America is exceptional, and its military is no exception. When we think of the military, we often think of the offensive parts, the guns, the helicopters, the warships, the bombers. And the U.S. leads the world in military might. That's true. But I also like to think about something that President Ronald Reagan said, that we maintain our strength in order to deter and defend against aggression, to preserve freedom and peace. Peace through strength. Our service members, past and present, are the strongest ever. Their activities have allowed for our peace right here in Keller and for billions of people all over the world. Our veterans' strengths and sacrifices are the reason that we can maintain our democracy and our way of life at home. Our veterans were always ready for the call. At any moment's notice, they were prepared to leave everything behind. Their families, their friends, their homes, to be gone for months, even years, to the most dangerous places on earth for the sole, selfless purpose of protecting the rest of us. They didn't ask to leave their homes to go to Europe or Africa or Korea or Vietnam or the Middle East. They didn't want to dodge mortar shells or inhale poisonous gases or dodge sniper bullets, but they did, to protect and to secure America. It's that willingness that we honor not just today and not just this weekend, but always. Millions of our fellow Americans have fallen and have trained to be in service, and every day that more brave men and women are ready to enlist. And it's a very small group of people. Less than 1/2 or 1% at any time of Americans are enlisted in the military. So we can go back and look at what President Abraham Lincoln said in Gettysburg. And so from that speech, we're reminded about our purpose. What he said is that the world will little note, no longer remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. So he was not only giving those soldiers the unique honor and respect that they deserve, but he was also imploring all of us to know that what we have, everything we have, is but for the grace of God and carried by the efforts of noble warriors. Veterans Day is a day for all Americans. It's a day to remember why our brothers and our sisters were fighting, and a day for all of us to exercise and acknowledge our own responsibilities in protecting our freedom and the freedom of our future generations. Thank you for attending today, for braving the call. God bless our troops, God bless America, and God bless Texas.
Thank you, Representative Capriglione. Colonel Donovan D. Oller's service to our nation began in 1993 following his commission from the United States Military Academy at West Point. He earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering. He comes from a long line of Army veterans. His grandfather, a World War II veteran, served a distinguished 30-year career. His father, a Vietnam veteran, served a distinguished 22-year career. His brother, an Iraqi war veteran, is a recipient of the Purple Heart. Colonel Aller also holds a Master of Science degree in Engineering Management from the University of Missouri-Rolla and is a licensed professional engineer in the state of Missouri. During his 27-year career, he has served on a variety of command and staff positions in both the United States and overseas. Don and Sue Aller have been married for 25 years, and just last month, they celebrated their silver anniversary. They currently reside in McKinney with their two beautiful daughters, Caitlin, 19, and Shelby, 16. Colonel Aller's last position on active duty began retiring in June of this year, was the Deputy Task Force Commander for Border Wall Construction in Dallas. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you, Colonel Aller.
Thank you, Rick, for the kind introduction. And thank you very much, and also like to thank I'd also like to take a moment to thank the Golden Triangle Rotary Club of Keller for honoring veterans and their commitment to the field of honor. I would be remiss if I did not thank my oldest daughter, Caitlin, for skipping her college classes today. Thank you, Katie Bug. And my youngest daughter, Shelby, thank you for taking a break from your phone, your friends, and Netflix to be here today. Thank you. I would like to begin today by recognizing all those among us who have been a part of the great brotherhood and sisterhood we call U.S. military. I would personally like to thank each of you for your dedication to duty and personal sacrifice. It is you that have sacrificed so much to keep not only America safe, but also offering countless countries a better way of life. And for the veterans that came before me, I would like to send a special thank you to you for laying the foundation for the younger veterans, because without your hard work and dedication, we would not be in a position today with this tremendous resources we veterans have access to. No matter what branch you served in, raising your right hand and committing yourselves to service in the military was a brave and selfless act. Thanks to those who have served and those who have continued to serve today, America can sleep peacefully at night, knowing that their military servicemen and women that volunteered to serve this great nation are stationed across the globe, ready to answer that call to duty. We military men and women know the risks, but accept them so others don't have to. As a nation, we are blessed with the freedoms veterans have secured and preserved. They fought to defend our country and our way of life, not only for us, but for future generations of Americans. The military men and women who serve and protect the United States come from all walks of life. Whether they serve on active duty, in the reserves, or the National Guard, they are your friends, neighbors, co-workers, children, parents, and grandparents, and are important parts of their communities. From the Minutemen who won our independence over 240 years ago, to today's warriors that have defeated and will continue to defeat terrorism around the world. The generations of patriots who dedicated themselves to the defense of our country make us stronger and more resilient as a nation. Our veterans have not only fought our wars, they have preserved peace, whether in faraway lands or here at home. They have lived uncommon lives under an uncommon banner, a love of country and service to our nation. Therefore, it is fitting that we pause today as a nation to recognize their service and their sacrifices. We observe Veterans Day on an anniversary, not of a great battle or the beginning of a war, but on a day that war ended and our nation was at peace again. The battlefields of Europe fell silent after more than 4 years of fierce and intense fighting. President Harry S. Truman said, "Our debt to the heroic men and valiant women in the service of our country can never be repaid. They have earned our undying gratitude. America will never forget their sacrifices." Honoring veterans is important. One of the many things we can do for them is to ensure that our force is mission ready to answer the call of duty today, tomorrow, or any time. Americans are a peaceful people, and this nation has always gone to war reluctantly and always for a noble cause. America's war veterans have fought for the security of this nation, for the safety of our friends, and for the peace of the world. They've humbled tyrants, defended the innocent, and liberated the oppressed. And across the globe, we will find entire nations that once lived in fear, where men and women today still tell of the day when Americans came and set them free. Veterans took the oath and served in battle, have known the hardships and the fears and the tragic losses of war. These memories will follow them through life, and sometimes are hard to bear. Yet our war veterans, wherever they fought, can know this: in the harshest hours of conflict, they serve a just and honorable purpose. I have a simple request for the veterans present today. We could have not served without the love and support of someone special. Veterans, please take time today to reach out and thank that special someone. I will start. Thank you to my wife, Sue, who supported me and allowed me to serve this great nation. I love you. Thank you for honoring our veterans today. Let us walk towards tomorrow, still honoring them by living in the freedom they have protected and continue to protect. I would like to close with a quote from General Douglas MacArthur. "The soldier, above all others, prays for peace, for it is the soldier who must suffer and bear the deepest wounds and scars of war." Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Aller. I am honored to introduce Dr. Michael Burgess. Dr. Burgess has served the constituents of the 26th District since 2003 in the United States House of Representatives. He was raised in Denton and attended the Selwyn School, graduating in 1968 as valedictorian. In addition, he graduated with both an undergraduate and master's degree from North Texas State University, now known as the University of North Texas. Dr. Burgess received his MD from the University of Texas Medical School in Houston and completed his residency programs at Parkland Hospital in Dallas. Dr. Burgess also received a master's degree in medical management from the University of Texas at Dallas, and in May 2009 was awarded an honorary doctorate of public service from the University of North Texas Health Sciences Center. Dr. Burgess currently serves on some of the most prestigious committees in the House of Representatives. He currently serves on the prestigious House Energy and Commerce Committee as the Republican leader of the House Energy and Commerce Subcommittee on Health, and also sits on the Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations and the Subcommittee on Consumer Protection and Commerce. In addition, he is a member of the powerful House Rules Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Burgess.
Thank you, Rick, and I should take the lead from Giovanni and edited that. We really shouldn't have that so long, and I apologize for waiting for that introduction. I just want to thank the Rotary Club of Keller, and congratulations on a wonderful event, and it was very kind of you to include me in your invitation to come and reflect on the sacrifices made by the courageous men and women in uniform. You know, we reflect on those who fought so that we can wake up as a free nation each and every day. Our veterans, many of whom paid the ultimate price, such as North Texas Staff Sergeant Alex Viola. They fought to ensure that you and I are able to enjoy the values of our great country, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. As mentioned earlier by Rick, President Wilson proclaimed November 11th as a day to honor our veterans. In an address on the first Armistice Day after World War I, President Wilson said, "To us in America, the reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service and with gratitude for their victory." President Trump has declared November as National Veterans, Military, and Families Month. He said, quoting here, "I encourage all communities, all sectors of society, and all Americans to acknowledge and honor the service and sacrifices and contributions of veterans and military families for what they have done and what they do every day to support our great nation." Earlier this year, I had the opportunity to be at an opening of a veterans clinic that was in the 26th district that I represent. President Bush was kind enough to provide us a letter. And he said in the letter, quoting here, "Americans are forever indebted to the men and women who have bravely worn the uniform of the United States in defense of our freedom. Through their service, often in difficult and dangerous circumstances, our veterans have developed unique and valuable skills. They are a priceless national asset who have more to offer the country as civilians." He continued and continuing to quote here, "As they transition out of the armed forces, they may need help bridging the military-civilian divide. Some need help overcoming their wounds of war, both visible and invisible. I want our veterans to know that I believe it is courageous to seek help. And the good news is, Americans want to help, and excellent resources are available." End quote. You know, in Texas alone, we have over 1.5 million veterans that currently live in our state. They're our family members, our friends, our neighbors. So today, I also want to acknowledge North Texans Sergeant Major Juan Carlos Herrera, Chief Warrant Officer Robert Larson, Sergeant First Class Jose Santiago, Staff Sergeant Sam Jimenez, and Sergeant First Class Kevin Brady. Thank you, gentlemen. You honor us here with your presence, and we're proud to know you. We heard from President Lincoln once today. We're going to hear from him again in his second inaugural address. He said, quote, "With malice towards none and charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God has given us to see the right, let us strive to finish the work that we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for the widow, the orphan, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace among ourselves and all nations." Close quote. It is now our duty to care for those who have risked all to protect us. There must be programs in place to ensure that our veterans are able to transition back into civilian life. This means comprehensive and patient-focused health care, as well as job opportunities. To our veterans of wars past and present, I cannot express my gratitude for everything you've done and sacrificed for our country. You're the best our nation has to offer. You make us all proud to be Americans. And let me just close with this. I ask that as a nation, we never forget to honor those who take up arms to fight for this great nation of ours. May God bless our veterans. May God bless our soldiers. May God bless all of your families. God bless America. And as the song says, God bless you, Texas.
Dr. Burgess, thank you. We are honored today to have the Chamber Singers Varsity Mixed Choir directed by Chi-Chi King. The Chamber Singers Varsity Mixed Choir is one of 6 choirs at Keller High School and is the premier audition choir. The ensemble has 50 members and has been invited to perform at the Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base in Fort Worth for various occasions, including the retirement of a commander, the change of command, the inaugural service of new aircraft, and at Navy quarters. The choir has also performed for the Keller Police Bike Race to end child abuse. Today, the choir will sing the Armed Forces Salute. Now, if you're a member of the military or served in the military, please stand when you hear the song for your branch. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chamber Singers Varsity Mixed Choir.
Over hill, over dale, we will hit the dusty trail, and those caissons go rolling along. In and out, hear them shout, count and march all about, and those caissons go rolling along. Boys high, high, beam the field artillery, count out your numbers loud and strong. 2, 3, 4, hunt, 2, 3, and wherever you go, you will always know that those caissons go rolling along. Anchors away, my boys, anchors away. Farewell to all its joys, we sail at break of day, 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 day. Through our last night on shore, hail to the foe. Until we meet once more, here's wishing you a happy voyage home. We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in Thee. Through hurling hail and shot and shell, to win our victory. Send them gratis is our guide, our pledge, our motto too. We're always ready to or die. Like the star, we fight for you. Off we go into the wild blue water, far into the sky. We are thunder, and the boys give up and down. And we rise, touching a flame from under, off with one terrible roar. We live in fame, or go down in flame, for nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. From the halls of Montezuma, to the shores of glory, the bright one country's battles, in the air, on land and sea. First we fight for rights and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines. Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Air Force, the United States Marines.
Great job, Joe. Thank you.
Great job.
My Goodness, is there any brick walls we can go run through? As a non-veteran, to sit here and see the pride on y'all's faces is inspiring.
Great job, Mike. Thank you.
And thank you, Chi-Chi and the Chamber Singers Varsity Mixed Choir. Major Carl Monger served as an infantry officer in the U.S. Army on active duty from 1983 to 1993. He parachuted into Kuwait with the 1st Ranger Battalion during the closing phase of Desert Storm. He retired from the Army Reserves in 2003. He founded the nonprofit Gallant Few in 2010, an organization dedicated to helping every veteran transition to a civilian life of hope and purpose. He also currently serves as a Trophy Club Town Council member. Major Carl Monger.
The Spartan Pledge. I will not take my own life by my own hand until I talk to my battle buddy first. My mission is to find a mission to help my warfighter family. The greatest threat to a person's mental health is isolation. This can be particularly acute for a veteran because of the experience he or she had serving with a team that had each other's back. It's difficult to go from serving and defending the Constitution of the United States to finding a job in the civilian market that provides purpose and mission. Loss of purpose leads to loss of hope. The VA says 7 out of 10 of the veterans who take their own lives are over the age of 50. Let me say it one more time. The VA says 7 out of 10 of the veterans that take their own lives are over the age of 50. It takes decades to lose hope and purpose. Boone Cutler authored the Spartan Pledge in 2012 to make himself accountable to a buddy he loved and trusted. Since then, thousands of veterans have taken this pledge. A few years ago, I was at a Ranger reunion at Fort Benning, and a grizzled Vietnam veteran who served on alert team approached me, and he told me that I'd saved his buddy's life. I didn't even know this man, let alone his buddy. I asked him to tell me about it, and he said his buddy was depressed and alone, and he suspected he was contemplating suicide. He called him, reminded him how much he respected and loved him, and asked him to take the Spartan Pledge with him, and he agreed. And it opened lines of communication long closed off. Now they talk every week, and they are both still alive. It's simple and it's powerful. Anyone can take the pledge, not only a veteran. Here in a moment, I'm going to ask anyone who would like to take the Spartan Pledge with me to come up here to the front and then remain here until the benediction is complete. Now this little block of stone that I put up here on the podium, that's a piece of Pentagon from 9/11. There are a lot of veterans that have taken the Spartan Pledge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hand on it, and whoever is closest to me is going to put their hand on my hand, and everybody else is going to touch the shoulder or arm of the person in front of them. And together we'll do the Spartan Pledge. So if you would please now come up here to the podium if you would take the Spartan Pledge with me. Okay, if you would please touch shoulder or arm of the person next to you. There you go. And repeat after me. I will not take my life by my own hand until I talk to my battle buddy first. My mission is to find a mission to help my warfighter family. Now you each go take that with somebody else.
Thank you, Major Monger. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Keller, I would like to thank our veterans, active military, and first responders for all that they have done and that you continue to do to keep us free and safe. You let us sleep at night. You're our shoulder that we can put our weight on, and we appreciate it. We couldn't do it without you. You know that. Thank you to all our guests that are here today. Father McBrayer will now lead us in the benediction.
Let us pray. Almighty God, as we depart from this place today, may your blessings be upon us all. As your nation and as your faithful people, let us always be mindful of the brave men and women, living and dead, who boldly served our country in the armed forces. Father, accept our thanksgiving for their sacrifices and the sacrifices of their families, which have purchased the freedom that we all know and love. Father, calls us to never take for granted their devotion to liberty and duty. Let our spirits be proud of them. Let our hearts be full of compassion, and let our minds be clear and determined to always give them the honor and respect they so duly deserve. Rekindle within us all a flame of selfless devotion to God, country, and duty, that we may never be found wanting in these qualities of spirit and mind, which are able to preserve the peace and tranquility of this nation and the world. Lord, keep our memories alive with gratitude, and our gratitude alive with our faithfulness to the principles which have made this nation great. Almighty God, grant, we pray, joy and fulfillment to those still living, and for those who are at rest, grant your eternal peace, and let light perpetual shine upon them. We ask and pray these things in your most holy name, Father. Amen.